Tyson Stall. Most of you that are going to watch this probably already know that. I am here tonight in my safe space, welcoming you into it. I've got my cozy blanket, and I've got my glass of wine, and I've got my family downstairs, and I want to present myself to you. I am calling myself the RN Life Coach, and we'll talk about reasons why and all that stuff moving forward, but I want to create a safe space for you. I want you to have a place that you can talk about your thoughts and your feelings and be totally, totally safe. You do not have to worry about anything that you could think and tell me, because anything that you think is just a thought. It doesn't mean anything about you. Thoughts are immoral, and I want to help you think more on purpose. So that is kind of what a life coach does. A life coach is not a therapist. She's not going to tell you what to do. She is not going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to give you advice. I'm just going to listen to your thoughts and ask you questions. And maybe when you look at thoughts that you didn't notice before, things that sort of creep in that you don't even notice are thoughts because you think that they're just facts. For example, when a woman stands on a scale, she thinks, I'm disgusting, or something like that. She doesn't hear the sentence, I'm disgusting. She just thinks it about herself and goes on her day and thinks that that doesn't matter to anybody else and that it doesn't affect anyone else, and it does. And I want to teach you to think on purpose so that you don't have those sentences anymore, and so that we don't spread that energy out into the world, because the world doesn't need it and you certainly don't need it. When I talk about this a lot, people start, hi Christine, people start saying things like, well, I can't think about myself all the time, because if I do that, then I'll be selfish and I won't do anything for other people. And I'm here to tell you that that is just not true, that when you take better care of yourself, you take better care of other people. That is the hill that I am going to die on. When I am happy and I go to work and I meet a patient and we have a baby and everything is fine, you know, it's busy, but it's fine. I am the best nurse that I can possibly be. And when I go to work and I haven't slept very well, or maybe I ate something the day before that just is not agreeing with me, or maybe I'm in a fight with a friend and I go to work, I don't intentionally act different, but we just do. When you're sad, when you're mad, when you're scared, you just act differently than when you're not. And so I pose, let's look at those thoughts that you have, that you probably don't even know some of them yet. Let's learn how to look at thoughts. And then let's decide which ones we want and which ones we don't want. Because once you look at them intentionally and you say, okay, I have this thought, going back to the scale idea, I have this thought that I'm disgusting. Does that help you in any way, shape, or form? Does that help your children? If their mother believes that she's disgusting, that's not a good energy to put out. And I don't care what you say, your children know that you feel that way about yourself. And then your children feel that way about themselves. And I'm saying, stop it. So if you notice a negative thought, let's just get curious about it. Do not judge yourself. Do not get angry with yourself. Certainly do not shame yourself. That's the worst one, and we'll talk about that later. But when you do that to yourself, what you're doing is you are not being the best version of you. And doesn't your family and your friends and your patients and your coworkers, don't they all deserve the best version of you? I mean, it's just that simple. And so I'm going to teach you how. So a little bit about me, now that I've went on a whole rant. So my name is Tyson Stall. January of this year, I decided that I was going to be a life coach because I found coaching, and really what happened was I found a woman named Cara Lowenthal who is my heart and soul. In fact, if you saw, I dressed up as her for Halloween because I have changed my life because I did this, but she introduced me to it, and I can't say enough about this woman. Now, her teaching style is not like mine. Her teaching style is very, what you see is what you get, and I'm more of a coddler. But I like her teaching style for me, and then I'm going to turn around and I'm going to teach you in a little bit of a different way. But I found her in January of this year, and from January to now, I can honestly say without a shadow of a doubt, my life is different. And it is primarily, I believe, based off of thought work. I have anxiety pretty badly. Have been in therapy now for about 4 or 5 years with a therapist, and that is working and was helping. And then when I found coaching and thinking intentionally, everything shifted for me. I really got down to the reason, like the thoughts that I was talking to you about before that you don't even realize you have. One of the first exercises that I ever did was just what we call a thought download. Oh, Trevor, what a sweet thing to say. There's more coming, I promise. So I did a thought download, and what a thought download is if you're feeling emotional or upset, or anything really, if you're having a feeling about a thing, then you go to a piece of paper and you just write. You write thoughts. So if my thought at the time, we were talking about me, and so I wrote down all the thoughts that I thought about myself. And looking back at those sentences, there is just something about seeing something written on paper. When I looked at a piece of paper that I had written that said, "I am disgusting," I immediately knew that I was going to change that. That is not okay to think. What am I teaching my child? How am I showing up to my husband? So that got me hooked. I said, okay, there are some thoughts in my brain that I have not recognized before, and I would like to uncover them. And here's another point that I would like to make that I feel very strongly about, which is if you talk about it, you can fix it. I promise you. I do not mean this as a judgment. This is jumping a little bit far ahead for, having been live now for, 10 minutes. But when you block people who disagree with you, you are not looking at the problem. Actually, what you're doing is ignoring it. And I am not saying that you are a bad person for doing that. I am not saying that you should shame yourself or judge yourself. I'm not even suggesting that you change your behavior. All I'm suggesting is let's look at it. If you have a strong reaction to something, let's get curious. If you have a question, please reach out to me and let's talk about it. I do free 30-minute sessions all the time. My book is wide open aside from the fact that I work 36 hours a night, but that doesn't matter. I don't care about that. If you have a question, I want to talk. So that's why I'm here. So I found life coaching in January, and I was hooked immediately. And what I have come to learn is that there are no rules, really. Literally, we can do whatever we want to do. Look at this. And this sort of goes into my next, I want to talk about this next week, but look what we have done as a result of COVID. Look at what is happening. I'm going live talking about life coaching. I'm going to teach you how to look at your thoughts from a phone. Like, this is wild what is happening as a result of the fact that we had to get curious. That's all that happened. We just had to figure out how to feel better. And unfortunately, you and I both know that wine and Netflix is not going to do it. That's what we call numbing. Again, fine behavior. Don't judge yourself. Give yourself permission to numb out. Right now is hard, man. It's hard. And you have got to give yourself a break because you're in charge. And if you're in charge and you feel like a piece of shit, you're probably going to act like it. And I know you think that you can act out of your feelings, but that's not actually true. Ask your spouse, when you're pissed off, can you tell? The answer is probably yes, even though you think that you have been calm and normal and acting like you weren't angry or sad or scared or whatever the emotion may be. So that's what I'm here for. Trevor, sounds like we need to chat and catch up. Went from absolutely rock bottom to maintaining an everyday life. I mean, that's a win, man. Trevor, oh my gosh, you know what? I would love to talk about this. Trevor Boone. Okay. One of my all-time favorite people, by the way. I will never forget this as long as I live. He was my first life coach. Are you ready for this? I was 22, maybe. And we were drinking at my apartment like we did almost every day, I think, back then. And the boys were peeing off of the balcony of my apartment building. And I said to Trevor, I said, man, I have to pee. I really wish I could pee off the balcony. And he was like, you can. And I said, Trevor, I cannot pee off the balcony. And he said, not with that attitude, you can't. That's right. He said it with me. That's exactly right. He was my first life coach because that is lesson number 1. If you think that you can do something, you absolutely can. I could have peed off the balcony. Shit. I just had lots of thoughts about it. You know what I mean? I thought that it was gross. I thought that it was dirty. I thought that it was wrong of a woman to do something like that. I had all of these judgments, which, I mean, as you're listening to me right now, most of you probably have some similar ones. But the fact is that I was making peeing off the balcony this gross, disgusting thing, and as a result, didn't believe I could do it, and so I didn't. But if I had wanted to, I most certainly could have. And I wish that that lesson had settled in just a little bit sooner, but it took me probably 15 more years to figure out that that was actually true. So, Trevor, super exciting to have you here. I would love to catch up with you. Message me anytime. So I think this is what we're going to do. I'm just going to sort of vamp and teach you stuff along the way. If anybody has any questions, then we'll have like questions at the end. And that's what I've got. So what I want to leave you with, and if you have questions, now's the time. Otherwise, I'll finish up with this point. Hold on. It's just harder with our equipment, but sure you can, you know. Yeah, exactly. It's harder with our equipment. That's what Stacy is saying, to pee off a balcony. Of course it's harder. And that's a great point, Stacy. It's harder for some people. This is an argument that I hear all the time. So if I say you can do whatever you want to do, immediately my liberal friends say that's not true for everyone. And you're right, it is not true for everyone. But I don't want you to get angry at that statement. That statement doesn't mean that we're shitting on the people that it's harder for. What we are in fact saying is that they could still get there. But yes, it would take a lot more work. For example, I have the ability to be able to decide I'm going to do a live Facebook feed. I've been thinking about this for, I don't know, like 2 weeks maybe. Thinking of like what I want to do and what I want to say and how I'm going to do it. And I, lucky for me, married a man who literally can do anything. And so I said, hey babe, oh, and he owns a production company, you should call him too. But I said, I would like to do this. Do you think it's possible? And he said, absolutely, yeah. And so literally 15 minutes before we went live, he brought me a camera and a light and set up the thing. And now here we are. That was really easy for me. This was really easy for me to do. That doesn't mean that it's not a win for me. And it doesn't mean that it's not hard for someone else. It just means that the steps are different. That's it. So yes, it's easy for Trevor to pee off a balcony. Not as easy for me. Like Christine is saying, you need a sheepy. Have you guys ever heard of a sheepy? I haven't laughed this hard at work maybe in my entire life. Someone brought it up and we looked up pictures of it. It is a way for women to be able to pee while they're camping. If you haven't heard of it and you like camping, this might be great for you. I am not endorsed by the Sheepy people. I just really, really enjoy their product. I think it's genius. Because now women can pee standing up. What? Look, the possibilities are endless. Literally endless if you just get out of your own way. So, the thought that I want to end with is, I see a lot of suffering on Facebook and with the people that I work with. And I mean, it just makes me so sad. And I want to help you with that. And so step number 1 is tonight. If you would like to learn how to control your feelings or how to process your feelings, listen up. Here we go. Ready? It's very, very simple. Step number 1 of processing a feeling is you have to let it exist. Now really listen to that sentence. You have to let it exist in your body. So when you feel sad, the reason that you feel really, really, really fucking sad is because as soon as you get sad, you start saying to yourself, I'm not supposed to be sad. Oh no. Oh God. Don't be sad. Don't be sad. Here, let's drink. Let's call our friends. Let's talk about it. Oh, I know what we'll do. Let's lay in bed and think about it for 5 hours before we fall asleep. Then I'll feel better tomorrow. None of those things work. Those things are what we call resistance. You are resisting your feeling. Do not, I repeat, do not resist your feelings. I have a great story about this, and he told me that I could share it, so I'm going to. One of my best friends, he told me I could use his name. Let's just do it. Okay. So one of my best friends, Mike, I've known him since college, so very long time. We won't say how long. He has an issue with going to the doctor. He has what we call white coat syndrome, or basically when he thinks, goes to the doctor, sees a doctor, gets his blood drawn, is in the hospital, even visiting people at the hospital, he says he cannot do. He becomes ridiculous. And so as a result, as a grown-up, now that he has to be in hospitals because he has 2 children and, you know, he's older and like needs labs and stuff, and he can't go without taking medication. And we have been talking and working together since really I learned about this in January, and we call him my guinea pig because he is such a good sport about all of this and doesn't get mad at me when I don't know how to teach this yet. And when I get confused and I'm not helping him in the way that I want to be helping him. And he's still here with me a year in, and he's having some thoughts about, obviously, COVID and where we are headed in the future. Ooh, babe, my battery thing came. Can you undo it for me so I don't have to, like, reach all the way across? Just hit, like, yeah. What was I saying? So he can't go to the doctor without taking medication. And the other day we were talking on the phone, this is about a week ago now, I guess. And we were on the phone, and the way that he was describing his future was like very dystopic. It was like, I got visions of like the Lorax. Like there's nothing in the world, just like trees that don't have leaves on them, and like everything's dark and dank. And I said, Mike, you are so scared. How about we just let that be okay? What if you say, it's okay to be scared? Instead of, man up. Because I think that you act differently when you think it's okay to be scared, as opposed to when you think, man up. I don't think that's helpful. And so I said, let's just, for today and tomorrow, I just want you to practice this thought. It's okay to be scared. Just allow it. Allow it to be in your body. And feel how it feels. And again, this is just step number 1. But just let it be. Just let yourself feel sad. And I guarantee you, when you stop resisting it, when you stop saying, no, I'm not supposed to be sad, then you won't feel as sad. I cannot make your sadness go away. Only you can do that. But this will minimize your anxiety, fear, sadness, whatever you want by, I'm telling you, 40%, just by stopping the resistance of it. It's amazing. And so that's what I want to end with today, is for this next week, we're going to do this every week. I don't know what day of the week it will be. Again, I am a nurse, and so my schedule is sort of like all over the place. Sometimes I work weekends, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I work holidays, sometimes I don't. I mean, it's craziness. So I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do about scheduling this, but I promise you that I will let you know as they come up, and hopefully we will get into some sort of a rhythm. But between now and next week, I want you to practice this. If you feel a feeling, I want you to first notice if you have any thoughts about it, and then allow it to exist. Just feel how it feels in your body, however that shows up for you. My anxiety shows up in my stomach. So I get nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, the whole nine. It's awesome, really awesome. But that's just me personally. Some people, it shows up in their chest. Some people's fears like makes them breathe heavily or fast. It can, some people get headaches. However the feeling shows up in you, I just want you to feel it. Just let it be there. Don't try to talk it away. Don't try to shame yourself and say that it would be better if you didn't have anxiety. That's not true. We'll talk about that later, but it's not true, actually. The reason I was able to coach Michael into eventually being able to go to the doctor without taking medication is because I went through this too. I got coached on this too. Because a tree, I don't know if you remember this, a tree fell on my house. And my anxiety went through the roof. And I was coached on this by my coach and by my husband, because I've taught my husband how to coach. And we coach each other. And so I went through this and realized, and it took me realizing that I was resisting being afraid. I was telling myself, it's not okay to be scared. You have to go to work. It's not okay to be scared. You have to be a mom. It's not okay to be scared. You have to make dinner. That's what I was doing to myself, and that doesn't work. All that does is make you feel like you're stuck, like you don't have any choices. And that's not what's true. You actually don't have to make dinner. You don't. I promise you don't. I know you have lots of thoughts about that, and we can talk about those. But that's not actually what's true. What's true is if you are anxious or you're having a feeling, you have every right in the world to take care of yourself. And if you take care of yourself, dare I say, your children will take care of themselves as a result, because nobody teaches this to kids. And so I'm going to teach you so that you can teach your kids. And then I'll teach your kids probably too. I have no idea where this is going to go, but I am so excited about this. I feel so strongly that I can help you. And so that is what I want to do. So between now and next week, if you're curious, feel your feelings and let me know how it goes. Reach out to me. Send me a message. I am the rnlifecoach.com. I have an RN Life Coach page. I have a blog and all kinds of stuff. So there's lots of ways to get in touch with me. If you are curious, let me know. I'm here. And otherwise, we'll just do this once a week. And if you have questions, we'll talk about your questions then. That sounds good to me too. So please, please, please take care of yourselves. This is a really hard time that we're in. And everything is going to be okay. I promise you. I promise, promise, promise. And if you need a little pep talk, give me a call. Okay? I'll see you next week. I love you.